So what's up, boss buddies? Now with Valentine's Day coming up in just a couple of weeks, well less than a couple of weeks now, I thought it'd be a fantastic time to do my top 5 sexiest fragrances. So I'm going to be back in just a second with my top 5. So welcome back, boss buddies. I hope everyone's doing really well. Now if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, please don't forget to subscribe below. Otherwise, for those of you that already follow me, thank you so much for your support. With Valentine's Day coming up, as I said, I thought it'd be a fantastic time to do my top 5 sexiest fragrances. I've also got a couple of honourable mentions as well. Now when it comes to, first of all, when it comes to living in the Caribbean, can't always look sexy because quite often it's very hot and sweaty here, but I can always smell sexy. So I've gone with pretty much the top 6 fragrances that I definitely get the sexiest reaction from, or the ones that my wife really likes the smell of and tells me that they smell the sexiest on me as well. As well as one that I've got one in here that we both share as well, and we pretty much agree with all of these that they are very, very sexy fragrances. My wife adores me wearing any single one of them. So let's get into it. So first of all, as I said, I've got a couple of honourable mentions. Now the first one I'm going to go with is Histoire de Parfum 1899, which is Ernest Hemingway. This one here, this one is pretty much, I would like to say, for those of you that's familiar with Spice Bomb, this is like a more refined and a much longer lasting version of Spice Bomb. To me, this is, it's a much, what do I want to say? I'd say it's a little bit classier. It's a little bit better smelling. You can smell there's a better quality in this one, definitely compared to the Spice Bomb itself. And I know one of the problems, not having worn Spice Bomb myself, but I know a lot of people complain about its longevity and its performance. One thing you will not have to worry about with 1899 is exactly that. Anything that I pick out for any of my recommendations are always going to be guaranteed to be top performers. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend them. That's what I look for in a fragrance, especially when you're sort of spending that kind of money. So, giving you an idea of the notes in this one, obviously the cinnamon really stands out in this one. But let's go into the notes now. Italian bergamot, juniper and black pepper in the top. In the heart, you've got that orange blossom, Florentine, iris and cinnamon. As I said, that cinnamon really does stand out. In the base notes, you've got vanilla, vetiver and amber. I guess it's probably a balance of the vetiver, vanilla and the cinnamon that I sort of get most out of this one. But it is a wonderful a little bit spicy to it, but a wonderful smelling fragrance. I'm guessing, well, that orange blossom is definitely in there as well. That gives it that sort of sweeter smell. But this is a wonderful and very, very sexy fragrance. I remember the first time I wore this one, I went out to meet my wife in one of the bars here in Grand Cayman, and one of the first things she said, you smell delicious. So definitely deserves to be up there. Now, one of the ones that I haven't put in here is Initio Rehab. As I said, my wife wanted to eat me when I wore that one. That one's pretty much a given, but I'd say it's more of a wintry, well, I guess, February in most places is more kind of a wintry. So, you can add Rehab in there as well by Initio. The other one that I've picked out as an honourable mention is by 4160 Tuesdays. And how can I miss out this one when it's called the sexiest scent on the planet, in my honest opinion. Not in my honest opinion, in their honest opinion. Now, just going overview of the notes in this one. This one really is a beautiful smelling fragrance and it is very sexy smelling. I've not had a chance to wear this myself just yet, but my wife did actually splash on the other morning and I came home and she did smell pretty damn amazing, I have to say. Like I say, I've not tested it on myself yet, which is why I'm giving it an honourable mention. If I get the chance to wear it, and I will do a full review, I'll tell you how it smells on my skin and the performance that I get from it. But my wife experienced great things with this one, and like I said, it did smell absolutely incredible on her when I came home the other night. And it is definitely a unisex fragrance. One of the nicest notes that I pick up in this one is the lemon meringue. That's pretty much what this smells of. It does smell like lemon meringue. Oh, it really is a lovely smell. You will smell like a dessert with this one. Whether lemon meringue is a sexy dessert, I don't know. It was always one of my favourites when I was younger. But in the top notes of this one, you've got bergamot. In heart notes, you've got that lemon meringue and the woods. In the base notes, you've got vanilla, musk and ambergris. And as I said, it makes a very, very beautiful sort of desserty, so I'm kind of gourmand kind of scent, but it's very, very nice. Very, very easy to wear as well. And like I say, it did smell absolutely delicious when I smelled it on my wife the other night when I got home. So those are the honourable mentions. Right, so into the top 5 then. Now, 5 very, very sexy fragrances I've got for you here. Something for absolutely every taste and so pretty much any Valentine's occasion. These are also going to be 5 that are fantastic for sort of gifts or something like that, if you want to give them to either your partner or something like that as a gift. I'd say most of these are pretty much I mean, all 5 that I've picked are unisex. So let's get on with it then. Now in number 5, I'm going to pick one of my brand new fragrances, which I picked up over Christmas time, a nice present from my wife, which is actually Buronda by Nasomatto. Now this may not seem like I mean, the main smell of this one is sort of a single malt whiskey. Now some of you may think that that's probably not a very sexy smell. However, this fragrance is absolutely incredible, whether it's worn on a man or whether it's worn on a woman. I've actually come home a few times to my wife smelling absolutely incredible, and it turned out she was wearing this. It smells completely different on both of us, but it is a very, very sexy smell. As far as sort of that whiskey smell goes, it does have that sort of boozy smell. And I'd say it mellows down to sort of more of a rummy note than it is whiskey. It's a wonderful sort of soft but very, very pure smell, if that's very if that's easy to sort of understand. I mean, again, the performance of this one is absolutely fantastic. And like I say, this is going to smell a little bit different on everybody. Strangely enough, when I smelled this on my wife, I actually thought it was a Ventus that she was wearing, because I mean, I've still got a little bit of a Ventus left in my collection. But it turned out she was wearing this. So there was something in her skin that really sort of brought out sort of sweet or citrusy notes in this one, which made it smell a little bit like a Ventus. On me, this one smells of pure sort of whiskey rum sort of blend. I don't think I'd want to drink that kind of blend, but definitely one that does smell incredible when you're wearing it. So in number 5, we've got Buronda by Nasomatto. Now in number 4, I've gone with one that is a very sexy fragrance, one that I always get a massive compliments from women. I don't seem to attract too many men with this one, thankfully, but this is one that women absolutely adore when I'm wearing it anyway. And I'm sure there's plenty of guys out there that have had similar sort of experiences when it comes to sort of meeting women on this one. And the one I'm talking about is Baccarat Rouge 540. This is the Eau de Parfum version by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Now the smell of this one is absolutely incredible. Oh, missed my hand then. I mean, it borders on, I'd say, it does border on sort of gourmand smell. It's a very sort of sweet smell. It's kind of hard to describe. It's like a very classy version of sort of one of those sort of candy pop fragrances like you got from Britney or Christina. It's kind of a spin on that, but it's much, much nicer and much, much more bearable, definitely. But it does smell incredibly sexy. I mean, I'm used to smelling this a lot on women as well, because the company that I actually work for here in Grand Cayman, we did sell this fragrance. Unfortunately, we'll be stopping selling it very, very soon. I think we've actually sold the last few bottles now, unfortunately, because we didn't have a Baccarat boutique. So now this is only going to be sold in Baccarat boutiques. But I'm used to smelling this on women, and the women in our perfume stores are used to smelling it on women. So when I actually wore this and went into the perfume store, one of the first things all the girls did was they come up to me and said, "What are you wearing today?" They're so used to me wearing like a deep woody fragrance or sort of a much fresher fragrance. When it came to wearing something quite sweet, it really did shock them, and they didn't really, as much as they sort of sell this fragrance, they didn't know what it smelled like on a guy, and it did smell very, very differently. And it does have quite a touch of masculinity to it when a guy wears this one, even though it is generally promoted as a women's fragrance. But this one really is a wonderful fragrance, and it will attract attention. Now, when it comes to strength, this one is a little bit of a powerhouse. It's not the strongest fragrance out there, but it is one that you will pick up from quite a way around. I know one of the women that, well, I mean, I tend to throw out probably about 3 or 4 feet, maybe even 5 feet projection with this one, and that's pretty much all the way throughout the day. This one also goes on forever as well. You can get up the next morning, you can shower, and you'll still be able to smell this on your skin. In fact, when all my clothes that I put in the wash, even if it was like a month ago, when I pull them out and I'm ironing, the waft of this comes out of shirts that I wore this on like I say, a month ago or something like that. It is a wonderful smelling fragrance. But yeah, if you're looking for something a little bit stronger, a little bit sweeter, definitely check out Baccarat Rouge 540 by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Now into my top 3. The top 2 that I've chosen are quite similar fragrances, but they are I have to say, the sexiest fragrances I've ever smelled, and my wife would say exactly the same thing as well. But let's get on with number 3. Now, number 3 is one that also attracts a lot of attention when I'm out, especially in the heat and on the streets. This is one that I just absolutely fell in love with the first time I ever smelt it, which was in San Francisco about 14 months ago. And I was in a Penhaligons boutique. Now, I've not been impressed with a lot of the Penhaligons line, but this one, Halfeti, absolutely blew me away. The reason that I've not been impressed with a lot of the Penhaligons line is their overall performance. This one is at the polar opposites of pretty much everything else I've tried though. This one, it's spicy, it's warm, it's incredibly powerful, and again, like the Baccarat Rouge, this one also does go on forever. If you want something, again, that you're gonna not have to worry about, it's gonna get you through a whole day, even a whole night as well, on top of that. Otherwise, you're still gonna be able to smell this as fresh as you, pretty much almost as fresh as you put it on, you'll still be able to smell it on your pillow and on yourself the next morning. This one really is kind of a beast mode fragrance, but it is, I believe, to be a very, very sexy fragrance. I do get approached by a lot of women on the streets when I'm wearing this one, because, as I say, it does put out a big projection. It's also a little bit different as well because of the spices. It's got some fresher notes in there as well. It's got sort of a barbershop base, but there's also sort of some much warmer sort of cloves and spices, and there's a little bit oud in there as well. But it just is a wonderful, very, very unique fragrance. It's hard for me to sort of explain anything that it's sort of kind of like. I mean, the best way I guess of describing it is by saying that it's a mixture of, it's based on I believe it's called Trade Routes collection, and it's based on sort of the trade routes between Turkey and England. So if you can imagine those sort of fresh barbershop fragrances mixed with all the spices and the herbs and stuff like that that were coming in from Turkey as well, that's pretty much what you've got here. And it's such a well blended and well balanced fragrance. Like I say, it's very powerful, but it's also very warm. It's very inviting as well. So Penhaligons Halfeti is in number 3. So then, my top 2, as I said, these are quite similar fragrances, but they're also different enough as well that they do deserve definitely different spots. Now, in my number 2, I'm going to put Side Effects by IMHO. This is one that me and my wife, funny enough, these last 2, me and my wife did actually pick up pretty much at the same time, I think on the same day, in fact, when we were back in London last year, back in the summertime. This one here is just, this one is a mind-blowing fragrance, as well as the number 1 is as well. This one, I'd say, is probably the stronger of the 2 out of the top 2. But this one, this is just such a perfect blend of, it's got some of my favorite notes in there. You've got tobacco, rum, cinnamon, and vanilla. And they just make an absolutely mind-blowing concoction when it comes to this one. It is incredibly sexy. When my wife's sort of quite hard to please when it comes to her buying fragrances, but we were in Selfridges in London, she came across this one and her mind was just absolutely blown. She also sprayed it on her wrist. My wife often struggles with performance when it comes to fragrances, and they don't tend to last on her. This one does absolutely go on forever on, pretty much, if it goes on forever with her, it goes on forever with, I'd say, you can pretty much guarantee it's gonna go on forever with anyone. I've got no problems with performance in this one, and the days that I do wear it, obviously I don't wear this one very often, as well as sort of most of my own fragrances, because I'm always sort of testing and I'm always sort of going through and doing different reviews, so I wear pretty much a different one every day. But the slim occasion where I do actually get to wear something of my own, I normally go sort of for something like this, or definitely my number 1 is a huge top pick for me anytime I get a chance to wear an evening fragrance. But this one is just such a sexy smelling fragrance. If you're looking for one to share as well, this is definitely going to be up there with the sexiest. But yeah, you can guarantee that you're going to get a reaction with this one. I'd definitely say, hence the name Side Effects. When it comes to IMHO, they do make incredibly sexy fragrances. You can't really go wrong with any of them. As I mentioned, Rehab earlier, which again is another sort of wonderful tobacco sort of honey fragrance. But this one, the way the tobacco is mixed in with the rum and the vanilla, and then also that cinnamon, it's just a delicious smelling fragrance. So again, I'd say similar lines to Francis Kurkdjian's Baccarat Rouge 540. I guess in the vibe of the smell, it's going to be very, very inviting. So in number 2, we've got Side Effect by Initio. So my number 1, what have I picked for my number 1 sexiest fragrance? Now, those of you, if you do watch my channel fairly regularly, you will know this is my favorite fragrance in the world. And it will take a lot of beating before it gets knocked off its perch. But I did pick up a couple in the last few months that have come close, but they don't quite meet the match of this one. And the ones that I'm referring to that did come close are Black Afghano and Buronda by Nasomatto, as I said, which is why Buronda's in here as well. But when it comes to my ultimate favourite fragrance, Straight to Heaven Extreme by Kurkdjian. This is, I'm just absolutely addicted to this fragrance. It's such a wonderfully blended fragrance. This is everything that I think the original should have been. So those of you, if you have tried Straight to Heaven, because I quite often get asked on Facebook and Instagram, what is the difference between the two? Well, this one's got a double dose of, well, let me go through the notes first. So you've got dried fruits, you've got rum. In the heart notes, you've got patchouli, nutmeg, and jasmine. And in the base notes, you've got vanilla, cedarwood, white musk, amber, and rosewood. Now the difference between this one and the original, this one has a double dose of the rum, double dose of vanilla, and also the dried fruits as well. And it makes such an amazing, boozy, addictive fragrance. I'm almost scared of smelling this because every time I do smell this one, I want to wear it. And I'm going to the gym this afternoon, so I can't wear it. But yeah, I'm absolutely addicted to this one. It is one of the most it is the most delicious fragrance I've ever smelled, which is why it is my favorite. And it's going to take a lot before anything knocks this off its perch. I did actually experience another very, very beautiful rum fragrance in the last week, which was Back by Slumber House, which is a very, very delicious, I mean, it's a much purer rum, but this one mixed with the vanilla and the dried fruits and those other sort of smaller woody notes, it just makes, it's the sexiest by far fragrance I've ever smelled, and it's the one that I love wearing more than anything else. The only thing that scares me with this one is a limited edition, so I may have to pick up another bottle of this soon just to make sure that I've got enough to get me through at least the next few years. Now, as I said, I don't get a chance to wear my ones very often, but you can see that I have used, I don't know if you can see on the camera, I have used a fair bit of this one already. It's not a cheap fragrance either. I can't remember what I paid for it in England. I know it's about $315 in the US, but it's worth every single penny. Like I say, I'm absolutely addicted to that one. So that is my number 1 fragrance, my number 1 sexiest fragrance. Now, as usual, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your top 5 sexiest fragrances. Please let me know. If you don't follow me on Instagram already, make sure you do. You can find me at Luxury Fragrance Boss. That way you'll see my scent of the day, anything that I've got coming up for review, anything like that. Hit that notification bell as well. That way you will get notified anytime I'm releasing a new video, where I'm releasing them very, very regularly. Unfortunately not every day all the time at the moment, due to having cats, also taking up a couple of new hobbies as well. I don't get as much time, but I do try to squeeze out as many videos as I can. Other than that, stay smelling fantastic. I look forward to seeing you very soon in my next video. I hope you enjoyed that, and as I said, let me know in the comments below what you thought about them. Let me know your top 5 sexiest fragrances, and thank you very much for watching.